The Man Everybody Was Afraid of, a Dave Brandstetter mystery. Book 4 in the series. Author Joseph Hansen. Publisher Open Road Integrated Media, New York. Narrator Eric Aust. Chapter 4. The building didn't need style or windows. It was square-cornered cement block, and it stood between tall steel lattice-work towers on top of a mountain all alone. On its roof rear 10 feet high letters in red, white and blue stripes, KSDC-TV. Maybe they were readable from the town below. 9 vehicles nosed the building. He ran the Electra in between a Honda Civic and a Ford van and got out. The silence was total. A cry made a cut in it. He looked up. A hawk circled against the sun. He thought he could be dead by noon. It was a useless thought. He pushed a door where the red, white, and blue letters repeated themselves, and a faded bumper sticker peeled. Channel 10, look again. On the other side of the door, ranch house chairs and couches slumped under clumsy paintings of cattle and red rock sunsets. A low table had thumped magazines and coffee cup rings on it. A red motorcycle bounced noiselessly off a dusty hilltop on a television screen. On a desk at which no one sat, a big, slope-fronted, multi-button telephone winked to itself. Dave shouldered a heavy hand-smudged door that wheezed down a hallway cluttered with microphone booms and camera dollies. Men in pastel shirts bunched, telling jokes. They held papers and plastic cups. One of them saw Dave and came to him, stepping over thick cables that snaked the floor. His face was brick-color makeup. He took Dave to Daisy Flynn. She wasn't a withered hag. She just hadn't been a college girl for a long time. She sat in a room stacked and racked with canned film. Film turned on reels in front of her, showing her image frame by frame. On a screen tilted hopefully upward like a child's bright face, typed pages lay beside her in a hand bony like the rest of her crossed-out sentences with a felt-tip pen. The surprised eyes she raised to him had blue paint above them. She pushed glasses up onto red-tinted hair. A disbelieving smile dug lines around her mouth. She had television teeth. Louise Orton said to ask me. Dave nodded. She said, even you. Was she devoted to him? Mindlessly. Daisy Flynn switched off the editing machine to a man standing in a corner, squinting at loops and streamers of film. She called, Bert, love, cut this where I've marked it, will you? She picked up the papers and led Dave down a hallway, then through a shadowy cavern where spotlights hung from steel rafters, where cameras stood around and microphones glinted, and sleek curved desks and fake paneled walls waited for the clock. The next news slot, candidate interview, land development commercial. She moved fast, like everyone in the flat-lighted room they ended up in. Typewriters, jangling phones, stuttering teletypes. Sit down, she said. Coffee? You're working. I don't want to keep you. He glanced over his shoulder. Have you got film in there of the Orton funeral? Would we have missed it? She sat down. You're working too, but I do want to keep you. For that very reason. What brings you around, Mr. Brandstetter? I mean, what were you doing chatting with the widow? Insurance, she said, and you wanted to know whether she really loved him or not. You aren't happy with the verdict? The verdict isn't in, Dave said opposite her. Oh, she chuckled. You don't know La Calita. Out of a drawer, she brought a hand-sized box of chrome and white plastic, a cassette recorder. She pressed buttons and set it on the desk. We'll get a camera later. Dave switched the thing off. This isn't a news story, Miss Flynn. Where a policyholder meets a violent death, every insurance company investigates. It's routine. She looked at the machine. She looked at him. Her mouth pursed. Of course it is. That's why you're driving all over the landscape to talk to peripheral characters like me. I may be peripheral, but I'm quick. Dave shrugged. Nothing in it. I like my work. It's a handsome landscape, and you have film. Yards and yards, she messed among papers. They were all like the one she'd brought back from the editing room, typed down half the page in capital letters. She found a pack of cigarettes and pushed it at him. We took an intense interest in Ben Orton. This is salt of the earth country. Ben Orton was its hero. She watched him take a cigarette, took one herself. The air conditioner blew hard, but he managed to light them both. Mindlessly, he pushed the narrow steel lighter back into his shirt pocket. Does that mean you think her faith in him was misplaced? It means that's the kind of woman she is, Daisy Flynn said. It also means Ben Orton wasn't just a police chief. He was also a man. She looked up with a mechanical smile at a skinny black youth who set down a yellow tray on which plastic holders gripped paper cups of coffee. And that women, too, worship heroes. Thank you. Cecil, will you pull on all the recent footage on Ben Orton, please? Mr. Brandstetter here wants to look at it. He nodded, grinned, and walked off. Dave looked after him. He hadn't seen another black all day. Channel 10's token, he asked. This isn't exactly Tanzania, she said. He's in communications arts at the college. Senior students rotate through here for working experience. We get state funds for the program. God knows what they learn. It probably warps them for life. He makes fair coffee, Dave said, but maybe after the shrub, anything would have tasted good. His last name wouldn't be Lester, would it? She was using shiny red talons to tear open little envelopes of sugar and cream substitute. The question made her stop moving for a split second, then she said lightly, It would be Harris. She stirred her coffee with a plastic spoon. Why the funeral? I mean, that's a bit after the fact, isn't it? It can sometimes help to see who was there. You went down to interview Anita after the fact, right? You have been busy, she said it lightly, but her eyes went watchful. We have a little news bureau in La Calita. When they learned Ben Orton had been murdered, I expect there was quite a scramble to get out of swim fins and into shoes. They had plenty to do. So did the police, Dave said. They didn't do it. Daisy Flynn twitched an eyebrow. Her hand moved to the tape recorder again, but stopped when she saw him watching it. She said, Anyway, I was up here, so was Anita. Only she wasn't, Dave said. Daisy Flynn found a glass ashtray and set it between them. She'd only have made a footnote anyway. She poked a cigarette among the lipsticked butts already there. What do you want with her? I don't know. I didn't find her either, Dave said. So, Orton had other women, did he? Daisy Flynn's eyes opened wide above her paper cup. Did I say that? She sipped the creamy coffee. Let's put it this way. If he did, it was a well-kept secret. A bearded youth clutching a scribbled yellow pad and flapping into a jacket hurried past, trailed by a paunchy man swinging a movie camera with a padded shoulder saddle. They pushed out a door into stunning sunlight. Before the door had time to fall shut, car doors slammed, an engine thrashed into life. Dave asked, From them, from your viewers, the lonely ranch hands in their bunkhouses back in the hills, the wine bottlers, the tuna fleet wives, the college kids, he eyed her steadily. Or from you. What Ben Orton wanted kept secret was kept secret, she said flatly. He had what's politely called power. There are nastier words for it. She moved a hand to get rid of the subject. The point is, Louise would have been the last to know, because he could destroy anyone who told her. And she wouldn't believe them anyway, Daisy Flynn said. You met her. You're bright. You saw that. Maybe, Dave said. But nobody likes to be made a fool of, certainly not for a lifetime. She stared. You can't believe she'd kill him. She was alone in the house with him. Daisy Flynn crushed out her cigarette. Her laugh was mournful. That's a real definition of alone. She looked up quickly. Or so I would imagine. She has a little list, Dave said. Radicals, dope addicts, degenerates, and reporters. You in particular, and by name. Why? We filmed his public utterances. She rose. As you, lucky feather, are about to see. Dave stood, tossed back the last of his coffee, and followed her between the crowded desks. Frantic humans, frantic phones, frantic typewriters. He always ends up appearing ridiculous. The hush of the hallway shocked Dave's ears. She couldn't understand why people laughed. I'm sure she never laughed. Daisy Flynn pushed the door back of it. Was a shadowy room, up a sharp rise. 9 theater seats faced a blank white screen. It had to be someone's fault. It must have been ours, right? Film could be manipulated, Dave said. It wasn't. Not here. A light leaked from slot windows in a projection booth up short stairs and behind the seats. She called, Cecil, baby, are you there? All set up. Cecil's voice came muffled. The men who own this mountain, this building, and all that is thereon also own most of the landscape. You so much admired between here and Lacalita ranchers, growers, vintners, rich and loud. They liked Orton. Light shafted from the projection booth. On the screen, numbers inside targets flickered upside down. So you didn't switch Ben Orton footage around? Not if I wanted to go on eating. She tinkered with a digital watch on a bony wrist. She peered at it. Which I won't do if I don't get a move on. If they liked him, why didn't they see to it he got paid? Did you know he died broke? Colors reflected from the screen made her frown garish. No. I mean, $25,000 a year isn't half bad out here in the boondocks. He lived, as they say, simply. Nobody ever accused him of extravagance. She gave her head a quick, troubled shake and opened the room door. Enjoy, she told him with a tight smile. And see me before you leave, all right? Wait, he said. Who laughed at him? Anyone with an IQ over 90. She went away. A Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. To offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.